So here's the script. If you live in a place kind of like this, you usually have to drive something like this. But what if there was an option to have something that was different? So what exactly is different? Well, this is a Volkswagen, you can clearly tell by the front of the vehicle, but notice it is not an ID.4. For the time being, let's put aside the propulsion system and understand that this is a car. Thank you very much, vielen Dank, for a car again. In this way, basically a lower vehicle, but still a larger vehicle. Then, what is the propulsion system? Well, you could imagine, Volkswagen, as of late, pretty much all electric all the time. This one is a rear drive, so it's a rear-mounted electric motor, 282 horsepower, 402 pounds of torque. Then there's the charging architecture. This, not like the Hyundai, so it's not super fast charging on DC. It's up to 175 kilowatts. Now, huge point of order. The car you are looking at is sitting in the California Republic, but it was flown over from Germany. So this is a Euro market car, and that varies the battery as well as some other bits that will be on offer. This one is fitted with a 77 kilowatt hour battery, and it's two-wheel drive. There will be in Europe a GTX, which will be all-wheel drive and a larger battery, somewhere between 86 and 88 kilowatt hours. There will also be a 4Motion, basically all-wheel drive. They change the branding depending on what side of the Atlantic. Then there's the obvious business of what are the performance figures of basically a larger sedan? It's not a full-size sedan, but a larger sedan that is not an ID.4, basically not an SUV. Well, here, it's not fast. 0 to 60, 6.5 seconds, and VMAX is limited to 112 miles an hour. Greetings from the northern nether regions of Los Angeles. Now that we have the pleasantries out of the way, did I already tell you this is kind of a big car? It is just below 4,800 pounds, or depending on expressive weights, it measures just below 2,200 kilograms. With that, this is not a Tesla Model S Plaid. Remember back in the day when EVs, all of them had gobs of torque, and it just ripped your face off, even if it was supposed to be just a normal car. Now we're getting to the level of maturity, and that's what this is. So there's good passing power here. It works around town. It's equivalent in power delivery to that of like a normal internal combustion engine car. So you and I keep on talking about this thing being large or big, but what exactly does that mean when you're sitting on the other side of the screen, never seeing one of these things in person before? Well, let's compare this to vehicles that are already out in the wild. An S-Class. Yes, not a car it competes with, but that is a long vehicle. This is about a foot shorter than that. Then wheelbase. That's where you package a lot of people and a lot of dogs. That's the business end of a vehicle like this. So basically from here to here. In that area, it's an inch longer than an Ioniq 6, which it directly competes with. But then let's go back to the Mercedes example of an EQE. That has a wheelbase that's 2 inches longer. And this is why all of those numbers are important. I'm sitting in the back of what is really a mid-sized Volkswagen sedan, and there is a ridiculous amount of room. It's actually rather comfortable. Granted, I don't know if this trim is coming to the US, but they kind of bolster the back seat, and it's a ridiculous amount of space. And now we arrive at the pièce de résistance. I've been telling you this is a sedan. I've kind of been sandbagging you because it ain't a sedan. In good European fashion, it is a hatchback, which means it's more practical. I'm not a practical human being, but this is for practical people. Even some storage back here where they have the wall charger, the 11 kilowatt wall charger, and this you could put the seats down. I'm going to make the case here, the plea on behalf of all World Car jurors. Please, oh please, oh please, buy more cars because they can be more practical and they're more fun to drive than SUVs. But maybe that's just me. Then we have to get to the range on this. I can't give you specific range because it hasn't been rated in the US. In Europe, they're saying something like a gazillion miles of range, but I can't share that with you today here in the US. The guess, about 300 miles of range on the 77 kilowatt hour battery. So thus far throughout this entire episode, you and I have experienced sort of a theme, and that is, this is very much a luxury car, not something that's considered like a mid-size sedan. You feel the length of it, but really what reinforces that point? The driving dynamics. Okay, so that's all fine and good, but what the hell does that mean? Well, it means that this is set up a little bit more on the side of compliance than composure. Now that means this car is a bit softer the way it drives on the road. You're not going to disturb your occupants that much. It's set up more for relaxed around town driving or going long distances. And we've come to an important point. We have to have that discussion, money. That car, as we've discussed, is a German market car. In Germany, that has a base price of 57,000 euro, but that car has a lot of options. It's got the sunroof, it's got some dress-up bits on the interior, it's got the fancy headlights, so it's about 70,000 euro as the way you see it sitting here in California. But what if this car were a US car living in California? Well, if you take those numbers, you're talking something like 70,000 US base price, maybe 72, somewhere around there. That wouldn't work in this country. I'm guessing, and using the Ioniq 6 as like a basis of comparison, that ranges between 37,000 US and 50,000 US as a base price, but that's all a function of the size of the battery and the equipment. I'm guessing positioning this as more of like a premium product, Volkswagen will come in somewhere high 40s, maybe low 50s. Okay, so while you and I are asking for some changes, how about we get greedy? That switchgear that came from the ID.4 with the window switches, they already made some changes in the steering wheel where you have an actual hard button controller on each side of the steering wheel to control everything here and here. How about making those real buttons, meaning line of demarcation buttons, buttons that aren't just five-way controllers, and do that throughout the entire interior, because the overall interior, excellent piece of design, just needs a couple of details to make it more usable. So what have we learned today? Well, a lot, because this is not a Volkswagen like other Volkswagens. Between this and the ID.4, we've learned they've gone a softer route. And if I'm reading the tea leaves correctly, this is to appeal to a wider audience. But to me, this is more of a unique approach. Why? Because of a 5-door. Now that gets us to the wish list here. It's a Volkswagen. It's got the logo on it. So how about we make an R-Line version, which we know is going to come, but let's change the setup and make it drive more like a German car rather than a luxury car. But I'm one man, and this is the point of the episode. I turn around to you guys to opine in the comments below, or via our social media, WorldCarTV, WorldCarTV, all one word. Until we see you in the next episode, bis später.